We've never seen activity on this scale before.
They have an army. But we have each other.
Hey there, welcome to ABC Gamer. My name is Rad, and today we have a table that's round, as you'll notice.
It's real small though.
For a roundtable about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2.0, and DMZ. And joining me is Dan.
Hello.
And Jordan.
Hello.
All right, I want to hear from Dan the man,
Yes.
who apparently loves COD.
Yeah.
What is Modern Warfare 2, and why did they name it Modern Warfare 2 again?
I don't even, it's gotta be, I feel like the naming it Modern Warfare's gotta just be like brand recognition, right? They were like, let's just redo it.
Yep.
We know that they were the most successful, so let's do that. Anyway, but Modern Warfare 2, it's a sequel to Modern Warfare 1, 2, which continues, from what I understand, continues the story of the operators from the first one, who are basically the Avengers. And these ones, Modern Warfare 2019 and this one, are kind of, they're the ones that updated the look and the feel and like introduced Warzone and like this real sort of more tactical kind of feeling, like realistic. It's not realistic, but like a more sort of like battlefieldy feel.
Yeah, more grounded. They definitely go for more grounded, this feels like a situational, like army game.
Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned Warzone. What is Warzone? And for anyone who may be confused, if you're not a big COD fan, you might have noticed that Modern Warfare 2 was released, and then so was Warzone 2.0, which is free to play. What's the deal?
It's COD's response to Battle Royale. So they've taken all the best and worst bits of different Battle Royale games, and they've done the COD version of it, so it's a much faster, like gunplay compared to other Battle Royales. We'll get into more like Fortnite. A lot faster, a bit more intense, a bit more stuff going on. It doesn't feel as accessible or easy, but it's one of the biggest Battle Royales in the world, so they're doing something right.
There you go. Well, we've each kind of played one portion of it as our main in order to come together and do this chat. Jordo played through the entire campaign.
Sure did.
As well as some of the multiplayer and Warzone. Dan played a ton of Warzone.
Way too much. Way too much.
I played a tiny bit of the campaign and mostly the multiplayer that's in Modern Warfare 2. And this brings me to, can anyone answer me why there is a multiplayer in the $110 Modern Warfare 2 game, as well as the Battle Royale Warzone 2, which is free to play? Why did they make both?
It's always been you pay for the campaign and you pay for the multiplayer, but Warzone you've never paid for, so that's what you've always had for free. I think it's just, they're just stuck in their ways.
Just legacy.
Yeah, that's at least for me, that's what I think it is.
I mean, considering how much they're charging, because they're really pushing like a premium experience, they can't really cut previous features, because if they're going to be like, oh, it's Call of Duty with a story and Battle Royale, people are like, where's multiplayer? Multiplayer is how they made their money for the past 15 years, you know?
But do you think that people are going to buy the main game in order to play that multiplayer when they have another multiplayer experience? Now, as I understand it, Warzone is Battle Royale solely. You don't have the other modes, such as like capture the flag or capture points and things like that. Is that enough to draw people in to pay that money?
I mean, for me, no, but I do understand the appeal of Call of Duty multiplayer versus Call of Duty Battle Royale, because like, there's something about those small maps, the speed, the respawning, like it is really fun, and like getting those tactical, like your perks and all of that stuff and your kill streaks is very satisfying and very fun.
Yeah.
And that is something that people, kind of like FIFA, will pay for year after year after year.
I think it depends on how much time you want to put into your experience with Call of Duty. So the beauty of COD, because the TTK is so low, because games happen so quickly and you're constantly sprinting around, you feel like you're doing more when you're playing a multiplayer match. Versus Warzone, where you could be running around, make no contact with an enemy for a good like 5 to 10 minutes, and then you have one engagement, you die, and you start again.
Yeah, that's exactly sort of like the big negative of Call of Duty as a battle royale, I feel, is that time to kill is still so quick and so intense that if you turn a corner and there's a man there, you're done. Like that's it, that's done. And then if you spent 20 minutes running around not having any fun, and then all of a sudden you're done and you're back to the loading screen and you're just like, wow, that was unsatisfying.
So you would say that the gunplay and everything that you get in the main game is pretty much exactly the same in Warzone. There's no like extra health that you have so you can soak more bullets or anything like that.
Well, in Warzone, there's all the plates and all like the armoring, and you can find, they've got new vests that you can find, so you can have more plates. So that's fun. There's like a level of sort of like upgrading your gear as you go, because they've tried to, I think, make it not so much based around loadouts, which was what kind of Warzone was based on. You'd get your loadout that you'd pre-built, and that would kind of get you everything you needed. So it stopped you from looting and stuff. They've kind of tried to push you more into looting in this one. But it cuts the time to kill down. Like, it gives you a bit more, but not enough to be able to, like, if you're getting shot really quickly and it's from behind, even with a 3-plate vest, you don't have enough time to turn around, figure out where it's coming from, and get out of the way. Because it's like, you will just go down and you'll eat dirt really hard. It's like a risk-reward thing, right? It's like, if you lengthen the time to kill, you kind of lose what makes Call of Duty Battle Royale so exciting. But it also makes it really hard to access for someone like me who isn't much of a Twitch shooter kind of guy, who needs a little bit of that sort of wiggle room to be able to reposition.
This is interesting because I am a huge Twitch shooter fan. I love Unreal Tournament, love Quake, love TF2. Like, that is, I think, the style of shooter that I love the most. And I would say COD, to me, not a Twitch shooter at all. It doesn't have the same movement and feel.
When I say Twitch, I mean, like, time to kill is kind of what I mean. Like, it's very fast. Like, it's very quick to die. It's not like Battlefield, right? Battlefield, usually, if you're getting shot, you can probably get away. You can usually, and if you get shot by a sniper, you can probably figure out where it's coming from, get behind a tree, and you're all right. But in Call of Duty, it feels really, really fast.
Yeah.
Whoever
Anytime
shoots first.
I saw an enemy, I would be dead.
Yes, exactly.
Immediately.
So an interesting thing about Modern Warfare 2 is that the weapon progression, you have to level up certain guns to unlock attachments for other guns. So there is a form of like grinding out things to unlock what you eventually want to play with. Because you're actually grinding to unlock meaningful gameplay changes because you're trying to make the weapon that you want to make.
See, I have a huge problem with that. I've spoken about this so many times with any kind of competitive online game. I feel like everyone should be on an even playing field other than their skill level. Because, yes, I definitely did walk in there on a very underleveled, character and just get killed in a second where I had, a good 7 shots on them before they even turned around and saw me.
Yeah.
And that doesn't feel fair.
No.
And especially if you're running around because you've just got this new gun, you have no sights on it, just using iron sights, and you're trying to level up so you can unlock like a stock for another weapon, and you get lasered by somebody who's got 6 different attachments and a golden skin for their gun, it just feels completely unbalanced. So if you're a newcomer and you jump and you see a kill cam and everyone in the lobby's got gold guns, you're like, what? What do I have to do to get to that?
Yeah.
Grind.
Grind.
Play
Grind
1,000
away.
hours,
That's it.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think, COD is one of those games that has such a passionate community that as soon as it came out would have been pumping hours into it. The more hours you leave it without jumping in, the more behind you're going to be. And I think that's really tricky. Do you think that Warzone suffers from that as well? Or do you think it's more even?
It's really intimidating to get into. Like, it is like, the menu system is really scary and like, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The Battle Pass is this new version where it's regions of a map and you can unlock different regions whenever you want, and that's weird looking and intimidating. I didn't know how to do attachments. It's all very scary. And then when you get into it, it's very clear who's played Warzone and who hasn't. Because I'm used to playing a Battle Royale and running around and picking up guns that are on the ground, right? But suddenly, you get lasered by the guy who's got the gold gun from up on the hill, and you're like, oh, because that guy knows to go get his loadout from the buy shop, and then all of a sudden, he's over-leveled ahead of me.
In COD, there is so much going on that they don't really explain to you. Like, the way contracts work, the one Warzone game I was playing, I was trying to find this contract thing on a map. The UI made no sense to me. I was struggling to, navigate properly, and then just got killed immediately. I feel like I have done this for multiplayer, I've had to look up guides as to how to level guns and how to actually, progress. Which is crazy.
Funnily enough, I had to do the same thing because I was just like, I don't understand what I need to do to be able to do the basic parts that I know how to do in a Call of Duty, which was like put a new scope on my gun or, put the attachment that I just unlocked and digging through these menus, I was like, oh, now it's sort of like a Metal Gear Solid upgrade tree that has all these branching paths, and I was like, what is this now? We're focusing a lot on sort of the negatives of all of this, but I think one thing that I really found playing its new mode DMZ is they've looked at, I think, the problems with Warzone and the problems with multiplayer of it being super inaccessible and it's really high skill ceiling, really hard to get into if you're new, and they've somewhat fixed it with DMZ.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, because I actually don't know what it is. What is DMZ?
It's you, squad of 3, up to 3. You can play solo, you drop in, there's AI, you have little missions, you're in there for half an hour, you've got half an hour to walk around. You loot stuff, you can get you can take some fortified wine from people's houses, maybe steal a laptop here and there. You've got finite limits in your backpack, but The cool part is you have it's kind of like the Division's Dark Zone. So there's a risk to it. So every time you go in, if you're killed, everything you take in is left there. So if you have a really great gun that's a contraband gun, if you die, that's gone. Like you do not get that back.
There's no way to get it back.
No. So you can have insured weapons, which are like, so this is what I mean. So it's a bit complicated.
Okay,
But it sounds,
cut insurance game. Let's go.
But it sounds more complicated than it is. So there's these. So it's basically like it's a time limit on your loadout. So you can take a gun in that's your insured weapon. And the more you level up, the more insured like slots you unlock. But basically, if you die, it becomes a 2-hour timer, and you can't take that gun back in. But there's also contraband weapons, which are weapons you find in the DMZ that you can bring back out if you extract successfully, and you can take those in. But if you die, those are gone. So I've got an amazing light machine gun, and I take that thing in and protect it with my life. Like I am so scared that I'm gonna lose that gun because it just melts all the AI. But it's like there's something about it that is just like extremely satisfying to play in short bursts. Something you don't get from Warzone. Like Warzone can be very, very frustrating. Like because you spend so long, 20 minutes, and then you get killed, and then you're out, and you're back to the loading screen, and nothing's happened.
So just to clarify as well, DMZ is a part of the free Warzone
it's free.
download.
Exactly,
Yes.
yeah. So you get in, and there's AI to fight, and then there's other squads, and they can come in and fight you, and there's maps, there's like classic maps for multiplayer in there, like Terminal is in there from Modern Warfare 2.
Okay.
And there's like, you go in there and there's better guns, and it's really fun. There's contracts that kind of make more sense, because it's like you've been dropped in, and it's like, go over here and find, I think last night I had one that was, go and find some nuclear material, so you go find a Geiger counter, then you have to use your Geiger counter to find this thing, and it's like, it's really fun to play with friends as well, because like you're fighting AI, and you're like, I'll get around here, then you get swarmed by another squad, and it's like, it's really, really satisfying moment to moment, and that's something that I think, at least for players like me, like your average kind of first-person shooter player, has been missing from Warzone. Like, I feel really left behind when I play Warzone. It kind of feels like Call of Duty multiplayer, when you can jump in and you can play and you can be satisfied, even though you're dying a lot, you're still getting a lot out of it.
Yeah.
Like, it feels the same kind of thing. You can get a lot out of it in short bursts.
Well, from what I understand, the guns you unlock in DMZ actually carry over into multiplayer as well. So if you do want to bypass that progression tree, you can pick certain things up and you will then unlock.
So the like contraband stuff will like go into...
I'm not sure about contraband, but I just know that you can level weapons up in Warzone and it's concurrent. So there is incentive. They actually do want you to try these different modes. But it just, again, it depends on what flavor you want.
Yeah.
The 30 minutes, is there a storm encroaching? Is there
So
gas?
the idea is the wind is picking up.
High winds are increasing in the AO.
And the radiation is swarming in. It's less of a closing circle. It doesn't get smaller. It's just basically you can't stay.
Yeah, okay.
You start like, it's the same thing as when you're in the storm in Warzone. Like your health starts going down. But you can get like radiation pills that keep you up for longer.
Okay.
And the longer you stay, the more cool stuff you can find. But yeah, it's led to some really tense moments. I had an amazing part where I dropped in solo, and I swam out to this sunken boat, and then I could hear something shooting at me, and I was like, there's no way that's AI. Like, AI can't see me this far out. And I looked over, and there was like 2 blokes on this other boat, like shooting at me, and I was like, yeah, right. So I jumped in the water, like basically went all the way around behind them, and then just mortared them on their little boat until they had to swim over, and just like took them both out on my own. And it was just
That's
so
awesome. That's great.
fun. I was like, I feel cool doing this.
Yeah.
And that's something that you don't get from Warzone when you're playing on your own. So yeah, DMZ I think is probably one of the most interesting things Call of Duty has done. It's obviously very similar to Escape from Tarkov and the Division and stuff. Yeah. Like it's nothing revolutionary, but for someone who might only be playing Call of Duty, or doesn't have cash to splash around, makes sense to get in there and give it a go.
It's kind of a version of those games that also has Call of Duty's very polished gameplay as well, and great gun feel.
Great gun feel.
And Jordo, I want to talk about campaign now. So how did you find it?
I started campaign like amazed. I had so much fun. When I first installed the game, I was like, I'll play 2 or 3 missions, then go to bed. 6 missions later, I was like, this is boom, boom, boom. This is great. Like I was having a tremendous time. And then it kind of takes a turn towards the back end where it slows down.
Okay.
And I have mixed thoughts on it, but it definitely takes a bit of like a slower pace, and it tries to ground the game a bit more and try some new mechanics and different things. But I feel like that's when it loses steam and it's not as exciting. So, like you mentioned, it's like the Avengers team. You start the game off doing very small, short missions. I think that's what contributed to the pacing of it, is that no mission overstays its welcome, but you're constantly doing fun things in new areas, be it you're in an AC gunship or you're trying to infiltrate like an enemy's hiding spot. But later on, you lose your weapons because I mean, we won't spoil that, but you lose your weapons.
Snapped them away!
They're all gone. But you lose your weapons, and then you're scrounging around a really dark like city area. You have limited resources, so you choose to crack open this box over here, or maybe you'll choose this door over here. But the rewards that you get for doing that aren't that great. The thing that really punctuated that mission, which is a really great thing throughout the whole campaign, is how well the characters get along. So particularly Ghost, who was already like a fan favorite character of Modern Warfare 2, he is so fun in this game because he's such a broody, angsty man, but he also has this really dark sense of humor.
Why is 2 legs and blades?
What?
Half a dog.
Sorry, I asked.
So you can actually like interact and chat with him while you're skulking about the city. But then, like I said, when you're trying to find wires and you know, like find glass to like stab someone in the neck to finally get a gun and go loud, it just doesn't feel like the classic Call of Duty gameplay. They're trying something different, but that's not. I don't know where it came from. So I don't think people are asking to slow down Call of Duty.
Kind of sounds like a primer for like looting in Warzone.
Well, that's an interesting point because I noticed throughout the campaign there are multiple points. So there's one mission where you get plates and it teaches you how to equip plates. There's a sniper mission where you're accessing 10 different things in your backpack using like the weapon wheel, and that is very much pointing you to Warzone. So I guess they're going for the synergy, synergy across the modes, which I appreciated that there was variety, but at the same time it definitely just felt like a tutorial.
Do you think that it damages the campaign for them to be trying to integrate these other modes into that experience as well?
I think, yeah, because they don't really commit to any part of it. So they also have like armored enemies, which are actually just really annoying to fight. Like you end up having
They're
to
in
get
DMZ as well.
Yeah, they're just kind of front. So you have to get like an LMG to actually fight your way through some of the campaign missions. And then, like I said, the one mission where you put plates on, spoilers, you're fighting a tank on foot. And it just, but it doesn't, yeah, exactly. But it doesn't really translate to the rest of the game. It's like, why couldn't I have plates at any other point in the game? Why right now when there's a tank shooting me? Like, it's already like, you know, unreasonable to be fighting a tank. I just...
punch it?
This is just unreasonable.
I
don't think
worse.
So
having played the whole thing, would you say that it's worth the price of entry?
I am going to say for the $110 I paid to play on PC, the multiplayer and single player was not worth the price of entry. I think that is way too much. I really enjoyed my time at the campaign, but I have no incentive to go back and play it. I don't want to play it on realism difficulty or any of that. I know you can unlock stuff for multiplayer, but it's not as exciting to me. And multiplayer, which I think we can get into a bit more, I'm not a fan of. It's not for me. And now knowing that like Warzone DMZ is like being well received and it's got so many cool ideas going on, I want to spend more time playing that free game.
I will say the one thing on DMZ that I am concerned about is the longevity.
Okay.
Because unless they're really supporting it and adding new things, that's going to wear thin extremely quickly.
I don't know if it matters given that it's a free game.
That's true. But there is a little bit of like, because with Warzone, you're getting new stuff, you're getting new areas, there's like new weapons and new like events and things happen in the world. Whereas, and there's also always like the unknown of fighting against people. Whereas I feel like this, hopefully it's moving to different parts of the Warzone map and you do different areas, but I played for about 4 hours straight last night. And by the end of the 4 hours, it felt like I had a system. I was like, I know where to go. I know to go to this building.
Yeah.
I know which exfil point to go to. I know usually where this will be. Like, it felt a little bit like I was like, I get this now. I can see the matrix and like this is how I'll do it.
And you haven't paid for anything. You've just jumped in. Do you feel like you're missing out on the paid multiplayer?
Like there's a part of me that definitely misses that really fast moment to moment, cool, small map gameplay. But in the world of like being a busy person and all of that stuff and having finite money, and I think like DMZ and Warzone scratches the itch perfectly for me.
So you don't think you'll pick it up?
No, I can't see. I can't see a reason why I would at this point.
Jumping in there, can we talk about like what how the support for this game is going to look like? Because they've released a roadmap for Season 1, which we'll probably get up on screen, but it looks like Warzone 2 and DMZ are the focus. So I understand that DMZ is going to be more of like a rolling narrative, similar to what Fortnite does. There's going to be a story happening, there's going to be different events and everything taking place probably once it leaves beta, and then Warzone obviously will have different limited time events. Whereas the multiplayer in the roadmap, for this season, there's 2 maps coming, and they're both the maps from the previous game, Shipment and Shoot House, which are both like beloved maps, but there's not really, it doesn't feel like there's resources being put into developing that and making it like a new, fresh experience. They're just kind of like honing in on that nostalgia and what's proven to work for them. And then yeah, it just doesn't feel like Warzone 2, sorry, it doesn't feel like multiplayer. It feels like a second-class citizen. You've paid a full price to have a little extra that can level your guns, but Warzone really is the focal point moving forward.
And I would say that, you know, I did experience some problems with multiplayer. I had both technical issues of just the game not wanting to boot. That was tough. And also real problems finding matches.
Really?
You know, yeah, I was sitting in queues for a long time.
Yeah, right.
And ended up, you know, playing the same map multiple times. And, you know, checked my settings, checked that I was searching for all game types and things like that. Just kept playing the same maps because it seemed like there wasn't, at least at the time I was playing, a big enough pool of people to match
that
me
sucks.
with. Yeah,
that's interesting.
I was really surprised, but it almost makes me think that everyone's just jumping into Warzone.
Maybe. I mean, it is new. It's the new shiny thing.
Well, on my like friends list, I could see quite a lot of people playing Warzone as well, and I was like, guys, come over to
Yeah. Come play some
Play
multiplayer.
$110 to play with me.
Exactly. And I think, you know, it's a very interesting value proposition when you release what is a very fully featured and very interesting multiplayer game that's free, as opposed to, you know, a premium priced game that has multiplayer as well and a campaign that's fun but not life-changing.
It's an interesting thing to be talking about Call of Duty because it's no longer one game anymore. It's almost, and I'm gonna hate myself for saying this.
Yeah, go on.
It's almost like a platform. Like all the games have that same UI, and you can get into the other games from the one UI, and it feels like they're trying to make it like a platform.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. And in a perfect world, I feel like that's how they go, and they focus down on keeping it. Say Modern Warfare 2 keeps getting every year. They're like, here's Modern Warfare 2 DLC pack 3.
I think there is like rumors out there that there will be an expansion to this game next year rather than a brand new game, which personally I'm for. If I can say, that's the one thing about Modern Warfare 2019. I adored that game. I actually had a really wonderful time, and then Cold War came out. Everyone jumped ship. I had no one to play with.
That's always been the problem with Call of Duty, and
exactly.
and if they solved it with this, I think it'd be great. And if it's all just one thing, everyone's in the one pool.
I do
Let's
like
swim
to
together.
I do like to see how, you know, the method of delivering these games is ever changing and how it does seem to really be adapting to how people want to play more and more. So I do think that's really exciting. I just want them to fix the confusion of the naming conventions and where you're jumping into and what, because, oh boy, it took me a good afternoon to figure it out.
I'm interested to know if we are all, should we play it or should we not play it?
Play Warzone DMZ, pass story multiplayer.
Look, the very small part of the campaign that I did play, I did really enjoy. I think I will play some more, but I don't think I could recommend paying full price to pick it up. And, you know, I think Warzone and DMZ, which I haven't played, sounds really, really fully featured and just a lot of fun. A great place to spend time with friends, so play.
I think I'm the same. I'm the same as you guys. Like, in the world of time and money and all that stuff, when there's a free version that basically gives you a good overview of the full price game, play the free one. Don't spend the money on the other one unless you're a real massive die-hard multiplayer fan, I think.
Here at ABC Gamer, we love free games.
Yeah.
We do.
Well, that is it from us on this chat. What about you? Are you going to be playing Call of Duty? Are you going to pay for it? Or are you just going to do Warzone and DMZ? Or are you just going to buy the $110 game, not play campaign, and only play multiplayer? If you are, we want to hear from you because what's going on there, bud? What's that about?
Do we say something like, see you in the war zone?
Sure.
Sorry.
You want to do that?
No.
No, we're going to do it. All right, Dan, you ready? On the count of 3.
See you in the...
1, 2, 3.
Warzone!
See you in the war zone.
I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, all right, bye.